If you don't know him, it's Michael Fallon. He's our Defence Secretary. And he is about to authorise the awarding of medals to drone pilots, to people who sit in safe boxes, in chairs akin to any gamers might be familiar with, and control Predator unmanned aerial vehicles that fire Hellfire missiles and kill people on the Queen's behalf. His desire to award the medals, which I'm almost 100% sure will happen, will be much strengthened by today's news that the White Widow, a unfortunate lady from the margins of society in Aylesbury who got sucked into ISIS, has been killed this morning by one of these strikes. I was going to bolster the picture with the Daily Mail has now gone live with pictures inside the cabin and also pictures of the strike. A little gruesome, and it would also show, and I looked at the Daily Mail online. I'm not sure these people deserve medals. I'm not sure these people need medals. They might need some talking therapy, some psychotherapy, maybe even a psychiatrist, but medals I think not. This chap, General Rupert Jones, he's in charge of Britain's anti-ISIS, anti-terror activity in the Levant widely, mainly Syria, obviously. And I caught a phrase he said in an interview the other day. He said, "War is hell." War is hell. It's one of those truisms that get rocked out by sort of macho soldiers. And I thought to myself, yeah, war is hell for the people of Syria, tragically. War is hell for the people of ISIS, rightly. What war is not hell is for you or any of the people you command. Now, old soldiers have always complained about how easy the current wars are. We get in the way back then machine and we say, oh, it was tougher then. Mainly because our hair was thicker, our waists were thinner, and it was tougher then. People in the Falklands would say how easy it was in Afghanistan. People from Korea would have said how easy the Falklands were. People from World War II would have said how easy Korea was, and so on, and so on, and so on. But I actually think something really serious is changing now. This is when I commissioned in 1997. 1997 was a unique year. 1997 was the first year that a British soldier had not been killed in action since 1967. General Sir Michael Rose, in our speech, pointed this out. Our parents were there. He pointed out that he felt a lot more would be dying soon. My mother particularly liked that, as I remember. But since 1997, British soldiers have died every year in conflict. They've died in increasing numbers, reaching really a sort of crescendo of 2009, when nearly 200 British soldiers were killed in action over a calendar year. Then something changed. 2013, no British soldier killed. 2014, no British soldier killed. 2015, no British soldier killed. 2016, no British soldier killed. 2017, I hope, no British soldier killed. But we are still meting out an enormous amount of hurt to the enemies of Her Majesty. We are still doing a lot of killing. And this is a paradigm shift, where the risk in war is almost so non-existent that the warfare has become so asymmetric that pressing the trigger is a safe, almost risk-free option. Now, this would appear to be Whiggish progress. But I would moot it's actually slightly worrying. You'd think I'd be sick to say I'm wishing for more of this, what Auden so wonderfully called men coming back in cold, hermetically sealed boxes. It's worrying, I think, that Auden has been increasingly popular now again. The harbinger of the Second World War is being reread more and more in these years. But anyway, I'm not saying I want to see this at Bryce Morton more. I'm just observing that the absence of this, while we do so much killing, is odd. I think we've always accepted, this is I think one of my favourite ever private eye cartoons, shock, soldier dies in war. I think we've always accepted, like the tango, warfare is something that requires two. You know, we can't just have it one way. And that participation as somebody who takes part in war involves sacrifice. But hang on. If we can get rid of people as horrendous as this, if we have the ability to kill such awful agents of evil without any risk to the stout yeomen and soon-to-be stout yeowomen of this country by means of this, or indeed this in the middle of the night, surely that must be a good thing. But I find the degree of detachment disturbing. At such distance, we are prepared to prosecute the ultimate sanction more readily and with less moral interrogation than if we had skin in the game. Now, I think the soldier is unique. Everybody has a balance. How willing you are to kill, how willing you are to be killed. Most people, unfortunately, if we look deep in our souls, would probably be prepared to take a life before sacrifice their own. Accept it. It's the way we are. The soldier is quite unique. Every morning he goes out, and the two things are probably in about equilibrium. Chance I might get it today. Chance I might have to give it to somebody today. And that strange balance lends a certain integrity to warfare, which actually prevents the whole thing coming into a slaughter, which I think it could become if you just do it from an armchair miles away. Second piece of popular culture there, maybe less popular than the Game of Thrones. Fantastic Ken Loach film, The Wind That Shakes the Barley. It's a particularly horrific scene. Cillian Murphy on the left there, who is in the IRA during their insurgency against the British, is having to kill this young man on the right. The young man on the right is an informant. He's known him since he was 4 years old, but they cannot have informers undermining the IRA at this stage of the insurgency. Cillian Murphy, like any other good leader, he takes on the responsibility. He's the one who has to carry out this execution. It's a deeply disturbing and moving scene. But the bit that strikes in it for me is as he comes back, he turns to one of his fellow other revolutionaries and he goes, Jesus, I hope this island we're fighting for is worth it. Now, why I take that as an example is we, as a society, need to be near. There needs to be a proximity to the most visceral elements of warfare. It's essential so as those who experience it can relay it to those upon whose behalf it is carried out and constantly question whether the juice is worth the squeeze. You can't do that from an armchair in High Wycombe. You have to be there. The other reason I choose this is in the film, Cillian Murphy plays a young doctor, or young trainee doctor, and he's the son of the local doctor. And I say it rather selfishly. If we are going to go and kill people, we need to be prepared to sacrifice sons of GPs from Rutland. That's what I am. Not a particularly special soldier, not a particularly good soldier. The accidental, the ordinary. We must be prepared to risk them, not just those people who, through the fact that they're special forces, we don't have to name. If we're going to get hit doing something that's worthwhile, we need to know about the grief of that family, that normal family who are like us. The final point, the myth. The myth of the expert of this, and if you can hold your nose long enough and you dip into the Daily Mail, you will read about this unbelievable Hellfire missile that stopped at a traffic light, turned left, hit the White Widow, good night, nobody else hurt. It doesn't work like that. Two brief anecdotes I've experienced. Rather unfortunately, when I was hanging around fighting with Afghan soldiers, an Apache pilot made a mistake and locked onto us and basically gave us the whole 9 yards. Not a single one of us was hurt. It's miles away. It's not that accurate. Sometimes they latch on to other things. Another time, we went to attack a building where we were getting a lot of stick from. We were still getting a little bit of stick from it. The absolute obvious call was to drop a precision bomb on it. It was in the middle of nowhere. There was no other collateral damage. Something in my water said no. We attacked it the normal way, fought through it, in the basement of it, 15 women and children tied up. Because however accurate that is, they can get cleverer than that. And then that's collateral damage that they can use. This stuff is not magic. It's not magic. So, my conclusion is, the broad sunlit uplands, or the utopia of war, is not a war where there are no friendly forces casualty. It's actually no war. But if war there must be, civilized nations must be prepared to risk their blood as well as their treasure. Thank you very much for listening.